Cold open. This mechanic just charged $400 an hour to touch a Formula One car. This one is currently on his back under a Corolla, getting paid for 1 hour of labor on a job that's going to eat 3. Same title, same wrench, completely different lives. There are 10 ranks between them, and every single one changes your money, your body, and how much people trust you the second you open your mouth. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which rank breaks the most mechanics and why rank 10 almost never happens, because someone was talented. Rank 1 starts at the bottom of a grease pit, and it is worse than you think. Rank 1. The Lube Tech. 40 oil changes a day. You don't diagnose anything, you don't fix anything, you drain, you fill, you slap a sticker on the windshield, next car. Pay is barely above minimum wage, and every customer who walks in already thinks you're an idiot before you say a word, because to them, the guy who does oil changes isn't a mechanic, he's a placeholder. You will spend more hours than you want to admit lying on a rolling creeper under strangers' cars, staring up at rust and old undercoating, breathing exhaust that never fully leaves your lungs. The shop doesn't teach you anything on purpose. Nobody explains torque specs. Nobody explains why the filter cross-threads if you rush it. You learn by ruining one, getting yelled at, and never doing it again. This is the part nobody puts in the recruitment ad, but it's also the only rank where the job can't hurt you yet, because you're not trusted to touch anything that matters. That changes the day someone hands you a wrench for something with an actual engine problem and has no idea what they just started. Rank 2. The General Service Tech. You've graduated from oil to brakes, batteries, and tires, the stuff that can genuinely injure someone if you get it wrong. This is the first rank where a mistake has a name and a lawsuit attached to it. You learn to torque a wheel properly, not because a manual told you to, but because you heard the story of the Tech 2 shops over whose customer lost a wheel on the freeway at 70 miles an hour. Nobody has to tell you that story twice. You start buying your own tools, not because the shop won't provide basics, but because the good ones, the ones that don't strip a bolt on the one job you can't afford to redo, cost real money, and the shop's tools are always the cheapest ones that survived the last 3 techs. This is where the debt starts. You don't notice it yet. You're faster now. Customers still don't know your name. But for the first time, a job goes wrong that isn't your fault, a rusted bolt seizes and snaps in your hand, and you realize the job was never really about the wrench. It's about staying calm when the car fights back. Rank 3. The ACE Certified Tech. You pass your first AS certification, and for one afternoon, you feel like a professional. Then you get your first paycheck with the certified title on it, and it's 40 cents more an hour. 40 cents. This is the rank where the tool truck shows up every week like a dealer, and you start signing for things you can't afford, because the guy next to you has a full Snap-on box and yours still has gaps, and gaps make customers nervous even when they shouldn't. Mechanics don't talk about the debt. Some of them are still paying off toolboxes for jobs they don't even have anymore. You get faster and better, and the shop starts feeding you harder jobs, which means harder customers, the ones who Google the part price the night before and walk in ready to argue about your labor rate like you said it personally. You didn't. You never see that money. That's rank 4's problem, and rank 4 is exactly where most mechanics get stuck for the rest of their careers. Rank 4. The Diagnostic Tech. This is where the real money starts, and also where the real pressure starts, because now you're not swapping parts, you're solving problems nobody else in the shop can solve. The intermittent electrical gremlin. The noise that only happens at 40 miles an hour on a right turn. The check engine light that 4 other techs already gave up on. You get a flat rate, not an hourly wage, a flat rate per job, meaning if the manual says a job pays 2 hours and it takes you 4, you eat those 2 hours for free. This is the rank where mechanics learn the job isn't measured in hours worked. It's measured in hours billed, and those 2 numbers stop matching the day you take this job seriously. You get good at this fast because you have to. You start diagnosing things in your head before you even open the hood, just from the sound. Customers start asking for you by name for the first time in your career. It feels like arriving. It's actually the entrance to the rank that burns more mechanics out than any other. Rank 5. The Master Tech. Master Technician. Every certification the manufacturer offers. You are, on paper, as good as this job allows you to get without leaving the dealership floor. And here is what nobody tells people outside this industry. Master Techs are some of the most burned out professionals in the country, and almost nobody knows it, because the uniform looks the same as it did at rank 1. You're doing 8 jobs a day that each require the kind of focus a surgeon gets paid for a fraction of the pay, standing on concrete for 11 hours, and going home with hands that don't fully close in the morning until you're 45 years old. This is the rank where the choice actually splits your future in two. Some techs stay here for 30 years and retire with a body that never really recovers. Others realize the ceiling on an hourly wage, no matter how skilled you get, is still a ceiling, and they start looking at the guy who owns the shop instead of the guy who's under the car. Rank 6. The Shop Foreman. You stop working on cars as much as you work on people, assigning jobs, mediating fights between techs over who gets the easy oil change and who gets the 4-hour transmission teardown, and absorbing every customer complaint that the front desk couldn't handle with a smile. This is the rank where you learn that running a shop floor is a completely different skill than fixing a car, and some of the best techs you've ever met are terrible at this rank, because diagnosing an engine and diagnosing a burnt-out 22-year-old apprentice who just broke his 4th torque wrench this month require nothing in common. You start seeing the business side for the first time, the margins, the warranty claim fights with manufacturers, the customer who wants a $100 part replaced under a policy that expired 6 days ago. You start understanding why your old boss always looked exhausted. Now you look exhausted too, and you haven't even opened your own shop yet. Rank 7. The Shop Owner. You open your own shop. This is the rank everyone assumes means you made it, and it's the rank where most mechanics who reach it privately admit they miss actually fixing cars. You spend your days on insurance paperwork, payroll, and a landlord who raises the rent every time your lease renews. You hire techs who remind you of yourself at rank 2, except now you're the one explaining why the tool truck debt isn't worth it, and none of them believe you either, because you didn't believe it when you were them. Cash flow becomes the actual enemy. Not a bad engine, not a stripped bolt, a customer who takes 90 days to pay an invoice while your own bills are due on the 1st. Some shop owners make more money than they ever did as a tech. Almost all of them work more hours doing it. This is the rank where you finally understand that owning the shop and being free were never the same sentence. Rank 8. The Specialty Tech. Rank 8 runs parallel to Rank 7, not above it, the Specialty Tech. Euro cars only. Diesel only. Transmissions only. The tech who gets calls from other shops asking for help because he stopped trying to fix everything and got frighteningly good at one thing. This is the rank with the real hourly rate, the one that finally matches the skill. A specialty tech on a hard-to-find problem can bill more per hour than most office jobs pay per day. Customers don't argue about the labor rate here because they've already been turned away by 3 other shops that couldn't figure out what's wrong. The trade-off is narrower work and a longer runway to get here. Years of chasing the same handful of problems until you know a transmission's failure points the way most people know their own house. Some techs choose this path over ownership entirely because it comes with almost none of the headaches of Rank 7 and almost all of the respect. Rank 9. The Race Team Mechanic. This is where the job stops being about fixing what's broken and starts being about a car that was never allowed to break in the first place. You work on a schedule dictated by a race calendar, not a shop's open hours. A qualifying session, a practice lap, a pit stop measured in tenths of a second that took you and 4 other people weeks to shave off. The pressure here isn't a customer yelling about price. It's a driver's life, a sponsor's money, and a stopwatch that doesn't care about your excuse. You will work brutal hours in a garage that looks nothing like the shop you started in. No grease-stained calendar on the wall. No radio playing classic rock. just data screens and a team engineer asking why the left rear was 0.2 seconds slower than the right. This rank pays well and demands everything, and almost nobody outside racing knows this job even exists. Rank 10, the Formula 1 mechanic. And here's the part that surprises almost everyone who isn't already in this world. Rank 10 isn't the highest paid mechanic on this list. Specialty techs and shop owners can out-earn them. What rank 10 actually is the tightest margin for error that exists in this entire trade. A pit stop that used to take 20 seconds now takes 2.3, performed by a crew of 20 people who each have exactly one job and less than a second to do it. One dropped wheel nut costs a driver a race, a championship, sometimes a career. These mechanics train the pit stop the way athletes train a sprint, thousands of repetitions for a moment that happens a handful of times a season and is over before most people can process it happened. They didn't get here by being the most talented tech on any individual car. They got here because somewhere around rank 4 or 5, they chose one impossibly narrow thing and became obsessed with it for years, while everyone around them chased breadth instead of depth. That's the real twist of this whole ranking. The top isn't where the most talented mechanics end up. It's where the most obsessive ones end up. So, which rank are you actually at right now? Rank 2, still paying off a tool truck bill for a box you can barely fill? Rank 6, fixing people instead of cars and missing the smell of the shop floor? Rank 7, realizing owning the place didn't make you free? Drop your rank in the comments, and if you know a tech still under a Corolla dreaming about a pit lane, send them this video. Torque it to spec, and don't skip a rank.